Sensory mechanism in plants. Now, let's discuss what is the sensory mechanism in plants. This refers to how plants sense and respond to their surroundings. Kahit wala silang brain o nerves, kaya nilang ma-detect ang light, gravity, at touch. Sa madaling salita, ang sensory mechanism ay kung paano nila nalalaman ang changes sa environment nila at nakaka-respond sila kahit wala silang utak.
So there are special cells and hormones in plants. So the first one is the special cells in plants. So photoreceptor cells, as we have discussed earlier, but this time in plants. So photoreceptor cells, it detects light. It is found in leaves and stems. So just like before, just like as I said earlier, it detects light. It acts upon light. It sends those signals to the brain, and the brain interprets them. And the next is the statocytes. It detects gravity, and it is found in root tips. It actually helps gravitropism to be acted upon, and it detects gravity that helps roots to actually go downward or upward. So the next one is the mechanoreceptor cells. So mechanoreceptor cells, it detects touch, and it detects pressure, like in the mimosa plant. So in the mimosa plant, kasi they have mechanoreceptor cells nga. So when something touch them, they will act upon it because the receptors send the signals to the plant cells so that they can interpret it. So they acted upon it by as we called it, makahiya. So nahiya siya. So ayun, tumiklop siya and gumalaw siya. The second one is the hormones. It is also called as chemical messenger. So the first one is auxin. So auxins helps some grows towards light. So actually it helps the phototropism to make the plant grows towards the light, and it also helps bend the plant, and it also helps to make the plant grow quickly. And the next is the gibberellins. It helps with stem elongation and seed germination. So gibberellins is actually the one to help the farmers to make the size of the fruit, like for example, bigger, and for that. And it actually it makes the process of making the plants grow taller much quicker. And the next is the ethylene. The ethylene is actually a special type of hormones. It is a gas. So ethylene, it involves in a fruit ripening and leaf dropping. So ethylene helps in fruit ripening, like for example, a banana. So a banana is so you know a banana, it's like it has a lot of fruits in it together. It is in one place. So ethylene, when they are together, and they're ethylene is actually produced, and ethylene is the one to help ripen the banana much quicker. And the next is the abscisic acid, or the ABA. So abscisic acid, or ABA, helps plants respond to stress like drought. So abscisic acid is the one to help to plants respond to stress, to plant stress. So for example, when a plant is stressed, it actually helps the stomata to close. Like for example, there are water shortage in the plant because it is stressed nga, di ba? So it actually helps the stomata to close, and so it can prevent water loss. So the next is the cytokinins. It helps in cell division and growth of the plant. And the next is the brasinosteroids. It aids in growth adjustment and cell elongation.
Now, we will talk about the motor mechanism in plants. Unlike animals, plants do not have muscle or a nervous system. However, they can still respond to a stimuli in their environment. Plants have specialized receptors that detect change such as light, gravity, water, and touch. When a stimulus is detected, signals are sent through chemical messenger like plant hormones to a specific parts of the plant called effectors. These effectors then triggers the plant's response. Even without muscle, plants can move or grow in response to environmental change. Now we have two types of responses in plants, the tropism and nastic movement. Tropism is a growth response of a plant toward or away from a stimulus. It is directional, meaning the movement depends on the direction of the stimulus. Example of that is a plant bending toward a light is an example of the prototropism. Like a sunflower, it's always facing toward the sun. Now, the second response or type of response is the nastic movement. Nastic movement is a plant movement that is not dependent on the direction of the stimulus. The plant responds in the same way regardless of where the stimulus comes from. Unlike tropism, nastic movement is usually faster and does not involve growth. Example of that is the closing of the leaves of Mimosa pudica, which is makahaya, that I've also heard, I think mentioned in the report of Group 8, and when it starts is an example of nastic movement. This specific response is called thigmonacity.
So the first type of tropism is the phototropism. So as we have tackled earlier, phototropism is where the plant grows towards the light, and it's so that it can get light energy and energy from the sun for food production. So it says here that the process where a plant grows towards away from the light. Most plants exhibit positive phototropism in their stems, where they bend and towards the sun to capture more energy for food production. So as it says here, it goes towards the sun so it can get energy from the sunlight for food production. And the next is the gravitropism. So gravitropism is also known as geotropism. It is a plant's growth response to gravity, ensuring that the different parts of the plant grow in the correct direction regardless of how the seed is oriented in the ground. So there are actually two main types of gravitropism. So the first one is the positive gravitropism. It is where the roots is actually moving downward because it is positive, so it's going downward. So the roots is getting the nutrients from the soil, and it is moving towards the gravity. It helps the pseudoscites helps distinguish the gravity, so it helps grow the plants towards the gravity. So it absorbs nutrients from the soil, and it also absorbs water. And the next one is the negative gravitropism. So the negative gravitropism is the one that actually makes the plants go upwards. So instead of downward, where it gets the energy from the soil and the water, it actually gets the energy from the light or the sun. So it gets the light energy for food production and for the growth of the plant. So the next one is stigmatrophism.
Let's now move to the types of tropism. First off is we have the thigmotropism, or it is also called as haptotropism. This is a directional growth movement in plants triggered by touch or physical contact with a solid surface. This allows climbing plants and vines to cling to, crawl around, and grow upon structures for support, often optimizing light exposure. This process is driven by hormone-induced differential growth rates. Second one is we have the hydrotropism. Hydrotropism is the directional growth or movement of plant roots towards a higher water potential or moisture gradient. It is a critical survival mechanism enabling roots to navigate through soil to find water, often overriding gravitropism, to ensure hydration. This response is driven by differential growth regulated by hormones like ABA and specific genes like the MIZ1. The last one is we have the chemotropism. Chemotropism is the directional growth of plants, fungi, or cells in response to a chemical stimulus. It is essential for survival, enabling roots to navigate towards nutrients or away from toxins. A primary example of this growth of polytubes towards ovules during fertilization.
Traumatropism. This is where plants' response is if nagkakaroon sila ng sugat or cut. If yung halaman is nagkakaroon ng sira, nagbabago ng direksyon ng paglaki or gumagawa ng protection or tissues para mas papahaba pa yung buhay ng halaman. Electropism. Ito daw is yung nag-help sa halaman para tumubo using electrical signals and may possibility na yung roots or stem ng halaman is mag-grow toward or away from a weak electric current